Wedding season is upon us, and I don't know about you, but I've had like 8. I have 8 this year. It's absolute insanity. And going out to get your makeup done for every single wedding, it can get a little pricey. So I want to show you guys how to create a very simple, very easy wedding guest makeup look for beginners. I can't tell you how many weddings I've been to where I'm getting ready, I'm doing my makeup, and I have girls coming up to me and saying, Layan, can you do my makeup for me? A lot of times they're very intimidated because I like to do a full face and they're like, well, I don't really want that. I want something a little more that looks like me, but you know, I just want to look nice, but I don't know what to do. And they'll have their little bag of makeup products and they're like, I have no clue what to do. So I kind of lay out all their makeup products. I show them exactly how to use it. And then I'll create a nice kind of glowy, simple look. So with this video, I've kind of have different options that you can do to have like a little more of a dramatic look or a little more of a natural look. But hopefully this video is easy enough for you to follow along. So again, this is for the people out there that, you know, you don't want to spend all that money getting your makeup done. You're not really comfortable with makeup to begin with, and you just want a very simple look for, you know, a wedding or an outing or whatever it may be. I got you. So let's get into this. All right, so first things first, before we put any makeup on our face, we're gonna wanna moisturize. And today I am moisturizing with the Purity Ultra Light Moisturizer, which is usually my go-to. It's super lightweight. It doesn't dry too greasy, or it doesn't stay on your skin too greasy. And that way the makeup doesn't slide around when you put it on. Moisturizing your face is a crucial step to your makeup lasting all day long and looking exceptional. You want a nice moisturized base, and that little face massage that you're giving yourself is waking your muscles up and getting them ready to look plump and fresh and perfect for your night out. Not only that, but I like to put a thick coat of any lip product. Today I'm using the Laneige Sleep Mask on my lips, just so while I'm doing my makeup, my lips can drink up that hydration, and by the time I put my lipstick on, it goes on smoothly. So I have a little bit of a black eyeliner in my waterline. I didn't record that because I have a weird thing with eyes, and watching it back, like having to edit it and watch it back, will freak me out. I apologize. So I did put a little bit of black eyeliner just like in the outer corner of my eye. I didn't put any on the lower lash line because sometimes that could look a little bit intense, and we're trying to keep it a little more fresh today. So when you're doing a full face of makeup, like you're going to a wedding or you're going to an event, you always want to start with the eyes before you start with your face. The reason for that is if you get any eyeshadow fallout, those dark colors falling onto your skin, it's easier to wipe it away if your foundation isn't done yet. So what I'm gonna do first, if you don't have an eyeshadow primer, and a lot of times when you're first starting out with makeup or you don't know much about makeup, you're not gonna have an eyeshadow primer. So I like to use concealer. Today I'm using the Rare Beauty concealer, and you'll notice me using a lot of Rare Beauty products, not sponsored at all. I just really love the Rare Beauty products, and I love what they stand for. So I'm just gonna put the tiniest little dab on my eyelid and then just blend that out with a damp beauty blender. So I'm creating a nice base for that eyeshadow to go on and look flawless. Using a damp beauty blender, in my opinion, is the best way to get that airbrush finish, but because it has that dampness to it, you're not gonna wanna apply eyeshadow, a powdery product, right after, because it can look patchy. When you have any kind of moisture on your skin and then you apply a powder right over, it's gonna look a little bit patchy. So what I like to do is I like to wait a couple seconds just to kind of let it dry, because we didn't do much of the concealer. I go in with a setting powder, and today I'm using, surprise, surprise, the Rare Beauty setting powder. I apologize, all my packaging looks so destroyed, but that's just because I use it so much. So I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna take the tiniest amount of product on a fluffy brush, and I'm just gonna kind of pack it onto my eyelids. So with that powder on there, I'm creating a nice base for the eyeshadow to go on and not look patchy at all. A lot of the products I'm going to be using today you could actually easily get at your drugstore, except for the Rare Beauty products. I just like how the Rare Beauty products apply to my face, but I tried to do a mix of high-end and drugstore, just so a lot of these products you can actually go out and pick up at a drugstore. So for eyeshadow today, I'm using the Honest Beauty Get It Together palette. I find that this is a great palette with a lot of soft, warm tones, some cool tones, really easy to work with, especially for a beginner. So the first thing that we're gonna do is gonna go in with this white vanilla color, which I know can be a little intimidating at first, but trust the process. That's all I'm gonna say, is trust the process. So I'm gonna take a flat brush and I'm gonna dip it into that white vanilla color. And I'm gonna start in the inner corner of my eye and just start packing it on. And I'm gonna kind of bring it up to the brow bone. This is gonna look a little intense at first, but again, trust the process. And if you don't want to use a very, very white color, go ahead and use any nude that works with your skin tone. You'll get the same effect, but the whole idea of starting with this light color on the inner corner is it's opening up your eyes, it's brightening them. So when we go in with that dark color in the outer corners, we're gonna get that like fox eye, cat eye effect. All right, so once you look like you're applying for clown school, then we're gonna go in with the darker shades. So I'm using my MAC 286 brush. It's just kind of like a fluffy brush. You can find any kind of similar brush at a drugstore, or if you don't already have something like this, like it's super easy to find, just like a fluffy brush. So I'm gonna be going in with the shade Soft Bronze, this one over here. The thing about eyeshadow, if you wanna have like a dark, stark look, you're gonna wanna hold your brush right at the base. That way you're really applying the pigment on there, but we don't want that right now. We wanna go in with some soft color. So I'm gonna hold it at the very end of the brush, and I'm just gonna start in the outer corner, right by my lash line, and just kinda go back and forth, do little circles, and really pull that eyeshadow out to about the tail of my eyebrow. I don't wanna go any further than like the center of my lid, and I'm just kind of going up and out with this. Okay, so once that's on, you're gonna go in. If you have a brush like this, it's a little more pointed at the end. There we go. And it can really get in your crease. If you don't have a brush like this, you can go in with your fluffy brush, and this is when you're gonna hold it right at the base so that you're gonna get that dark color. So I'm gonna go in with the darker shade in this palette, which is Burnt Mocha, right here, the darker brown shade. So I'm gonna take a little bit on that brush, and I'm gonna tap off any excess because I don't want too much fallout with that dark color. And I'm gonna start right at the base of my lash line in my outer corner and just kind of stamp that on. We're creating that smoky eye effect right now. So I'm just gonna kind of stamp it on and move it up into my outer corner. Don't worry if your makeup is looking a little messy at this point. That's okay, there's nothing wrong with a little bit of a mess. We're gonna clean it up. Right now, if you could see, it's just kind of stamped on. There's no rhyme or reason, it's just kind of there, but we're gonna buff that out. So I'm gonna do that same thing to the other eye, just in the outer corner. I like to keep my pinky on my cheekbone while I do this, just to stabilize my hands, because I have very, very shaky hands. All right, now that we have that packed on, I'm gonna go in with that other brush that I was using. Again, if you're still using the same brush, just move your hand down to the base of the brush handle. And I'm gonna start just in circular motions, blending out that color that I just put on. Again, this is a pretty messy process, so this is why we started with our eyes instead of starting with our face. Unlike that lighter shade, we're not gonna wanna go up with this because we don't wanna have too much of that dark color right by our eyebrow. We're gonna wanna keep that area lighter. So we're just kind of staying in this general area, and we're going in circles, we're going out, and just kind of blend, blend, blend away. All right, so now that that's blended out, it's gonna be looking a little messy. It might be looking a little dark, especially if you're somebody that doesn't wear makeup. Right now, you might be thinking, what the heck is on my face? So I'm gonna go in with a big fluffy brush. If you don't have one of these, maybe wash your brush that you are using off with all that dark product, or try to find something similar, or just a fluffy brush that is clean. And then I'm gonna go in with that translucent powder that I used earlier. And if you don't have something like this, you can go in with, a lot of palettes have what they call a transition shade, which is like a shade that's a little more orangey or a little lighter in the palette that you can add onto your lids to blend all those shades out. If you don't have that, I also use bronzer sometimes, like a light bronzer, just to blend it all out. So I have that translucent powder on my brush and just tapping a little bit off. I'm gonna go right where that brow bone is. I'll start here and just kind of blend. just so that it doesn't look too harsh. It looks a little more buffed out. I'm just kind of going back and forth in a sweeping motion so that that light part of my eye and that dark part of my eye start to kind of meet and make sense. So at this point, it's completely up to you what you want to do. If you want to go in with a little bit of darker color in your outer corners, go right ahead. If you want to keep it at this, go ahead. I'm going to leave it at this because I'm good with this and I don't want to go any further. I might blend out a bit more, but we're gonna go back to the eyes and do some touch-ups after we're done the face. So we're not quite done with the eyes. So whatever you want to do, you can either pause this video and pack more on, or you can just leave it here. So once we're done this part, I'm gonna take a makeup wipe and I'm going to start in the inner corner and drag my finger right to the outer corner and up by the tail of my eyebrow. I'm just kind of creating that smoky effect that we're gonna follow with our foundation, just to have that like drawn out like cat eye look. Actually, one step that I did forget is eyeliner. So I like to do like a black eyeliner look, but I know that's very intimidating for beginners. So what you can do before we start on the foundation is take a flat brush like this and go in with either a very dark brown or black. I'm gonna use black today. And just right at the base of the lash line, you're gonna wanna start in your outer corner. You don't wanna bring this in all the way yet. You can, but I'll kind of show you guys. You're gonna wanna start right at the lash line in the outer corner and just jiggle it back and forth. This is gonna create that eyeliner effect without that intimidating cat eye look that, you know, is really hard to do, especially if you're a beginner. I sometimes like using eyeshadow over eyeliner just because it does give you a softer look. And if you're going to a daytime wedding or an event during the daytime, you don't always want that harsh line on your eyes. So this is a way to kind of get that effect without all the commitment. And then you can go in with a fluffy brush and just kind of blend that back and forth. Don't bring it up too high, just kind of blend it right at the base of your lashes just to give it a softer effect. All right, now I will wipe it off again. We can actually get started with the face. All right, so for primer today, I'm using the Rare Beauty Illuminating Primer. You might be asking, why do you need a primer? Well, I'll tell you, my friends, it's because it just makes your makeup stay on much longer and go on more flawlessly. And especially with this primer, if you can see, it has like a bit more of a sheen to it. So it gives your face like that bright look that I love for the summertime. So with primer, I like to just kind of take it on my fingers and just kind of dab it all over my face. Put a little too much on, but that's okay. And then I just go in and give my face a nice little massage like I did with the moisturizer. And because our face is already moisturized from earlier, this will go on so much better and our skin will drink it up so much easier. For foundation today, we're going in with, again, the Rare Beauty foundation. I swear this is not sponsored. This is in the shade 160C. So with the foundation, I'm just gonna kind of make little dots everywhere. I don't like a very heavy foundation look, especially for the summertime. I like my skin to breathe a little bit, so I'm not gonna put too much on. And then with that damp beauty blender, I'm just gonna start blending it all out. All right, once that's blended out, we're gonna go in with concealer. So I'm gonna use that same Rare Beauty concealer that I used earlier. And I don't like using too much concealer. So I'm just gonna do a dot in my inner corner, a dot in my outer corner, a dot right here, because that's, you naturally get pigmentation over here, it's just hormonal. And that's pretty much it actually for me. I don't like doing that whole like concealer triangle that you see in some makeup videos sometimes. I just feel like that's a little too much for me. I do go in with a little more concealer a little later after I'm done with bronzing, but we'll get to that. And then I just kind of blend it out. So as you can see, once that's blended out, I have more than enough concealer on. I feel like if I put any more on, it would have been a little cakey on my face, and that's not the look I'm going for. I'm just taking anything that's left, any product that's left on my beauty blender and putting it up here on my forehead because I like a nice illuminated forehead. So once that's on, we could set our under eyes now, but I think we're gonna bronze first. So I'm gonna go in with the Essence bronzer, and this is in the shade 01 Natural. This is literally $5 at the drugstore. It goes on perfectly. Mine's broken. The front part broke off, so we're just gonna work with this. So I'm gonna take a fluffy, just kind of like a, you can get this brush anywhere. I got this from the drugstore. It's the Quo Beauty Airbrush Highlighter brush, but I use it for bronzer. So with bronzer, there's a very strategic way of putting it on. You don't want your bronzer to go too deep into the middle of your face because that's gonna bring your face in. You wanna kind of go up and out with it to kind of give you that lifted look. So what I like to do is I like to start right at my cheekbone right here and just go up. Go up actually towards the eye. And you can be a little heavy-handed with this. I like to be a little heavy-handed. And then curl it around your eyebrow, anything that's left. Then I kind of like to go up my hairline, and I just keep kind of blending it into my hairline. I'm not going in too deep with this. I'm not going very close to the nose. I'm staying like, I'm not going any further than here. We're just gonna keep blending. Then I like to take a little more product on my brush, tap off the excess, and then I like to go along my jawline. And instead of going upwards, I'm gonna start going down. I know this looks a little harsh. We're gonna blend it out, don't worry. Especially if you're wearing a strapless dress or anything where your neckline is showing, you're gonna wanna bring that bronzer down so that it blends and that you don't look like you're wearing a mask. And then once there's like nothing on my brush left, I'm just gonna kind of be a little more messy with this. Blend out those harsh lines. You could either leave it at this, or if you want to contour, we're gonna contour. So today I'm gonna go in with the Kat Von D Shade Light palette, and as you can see, this is a very well-worn, well-loved palette. You can see my little ring light on there. So for the sake of this video, I'm gonna go in with that same brush, and I'm gonna go in with this lighter shade over here, which, remember earlier we talked about transition shades in your eyeshadow? I've used this shade before as a transition shade if my palette, like the Honest Beauty one, didn't have a transition shade in it. Or in the summertime, if I'm just kind of not wanting to do a full face, I just kind of want to freshen up my face, I will use contour as eyeshadow. I just had a brain fart. That way it kind of all blends in and it looks a little more summery and seamless. So with this, I'm just kind of staying in the outer corner. With contour, you really want to be careful. So the difference between contour and bronzer is that bronzer tends to have more of like an orangey look to it, whereas contour has a gray undertone to it. And that's because contour is really manipulating the shadows on your face, whereas bronzer is kind of highlighting and giving you that sun-kissed look. So you want to be careful where you're putting your bronzer or your contour, because it does have that gray undertone to it. But we're going to follow the exact same path that we made with that bronzer. So one thing about me is that I always love to contour my nose. I've always been self-conscious about my nose, so I like to contour it. So I have this contour brush that I use, and if you don't have a contour brush, you can use any kind of clean eyeshadow brush. And I like to go in with the lighter shade, tap off any excess, and then create those lines on either side of my nose. I usually go in pretty heavy-handed with this and then just start kind of blending. You can either keep blending with the brush that you have. I'm gonna use this little paddle brush that I have. It's just easier. And just blend until you feel like you can't blend anymore. Okay, so once you have that all on, it's looking a little harsh right now, isn't it? So we're gonna take our beauty blender and we're gonna go in with a brightening shade. So if you have a contour palette, usually you'll have the lighter shades in here, or you can use that setting powder. So I'm gonna use the setting powder today just because it's a little lighter, and I really like the Rare Beauty one because it has a lot of shimmer qualities to it. So especially in the summertime, it kind of gives your face a little bit of a glow. The only thing is it takes a little bit to get it out of the container. So I'm using about this much. It's a pretty healthy amount. And I'm gonna go in with that damp beauty blender, which is very damp right now, or sorry, a lot more dry right now than it was before, and you're gonna wanna keep it that way, especially when you're working with loose powder. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start, I like to start on this side. Okay, so I'm gonna start in the inner corner of my eye, gonna bring it down the bridge of my nose because we wanna blend away some of this contour, and I'm gonna bring it out. Then whatever's left in here, and if there's nothing left, you can kind of take out a little more product. I'll put some bake right over here. So the reason why this is called baking is it's a process that creates heat, a heat barrier between the makeup and your skin. I know it looks a little ridiculous right now, but trust me, this is a process that was actually popularized in the drag community, and it creates a heat barrier between the makeup and the skin so that when your skin warms up, it absorbs all of that makeup, it gets really into your skin, and it stays there all day. So we're gonna let that sit for a few minutes, and while we do that, we're gonna do our eyebrows. I look insane right now. I know I do, it's all right. So with your eyebrows, you're gonna wanna start by brushing them with a spoolie. So if you don't have a spoolie, it looks like this, and you can literally, if you have an old mascara that you don't use anymore, just clean off the wand and start using that for your eyebrows. I have hairs all over this, gross. All right, so I'm just gonna brush my eyebrows upwards. And today for brows, I'm actually using an Essence pencil. Essence is such an affordable drugstore brand. It's the brand that, the bronzer that I used is Essence. This is Essence. I think this was like $2.99 at the drugstore, and it goes on so well. I used to buy the Anastasia Beverly Hills eyebrow pencil, and it was like $30. You know, the economy's not that great right now, so I'm gonna go with this $2 pencil that gives me the exact same effect. So what I'm gonna wanna do is I'm gonna start right at my arch, and I'm gonna create a line that goes to the tail of my eyebrow. And then I'm gonna go to the top of my arch and do the exact same thing, just kind of filling it in. And then I'm gonna create a little line, just kind of highlighting the bottom of my eyebrow. I don't want to, once you get to the very beginning of your eyebrow, you don't want to put too much product in there. So before I blend it out, I'm going to do the exact same thing with the other eyebrow. So I'm really just kind of filling in that tail of my eyebrow with color, and I'm being very gentle with the beginning of my eyebrow. So now I have this like a little line, as you can see, on both sides. So I'm gonna go back with that brush, and I'm just gonna start brushing and blending that product up. A lot of people like to start with the eyebrows. I like to kind of do my eyebrows while I let my face bake. I feel like with me starting with my eyebrows, I'm very rough with the way I apply foundation. So I end up just kind of getting foundation in them, and they fade a bit. So it just makes more sense for me to do them while I'm baking. And then while you're waiting for that bake to set in, this is a good opportunity where if you want to apply a little more black to your eyes, this would be a perfect time to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and do that just in the outer corners. I'm going to go back and forth with my brush. Okay, so I think we're ready now to take all this off. So I'm going to go back in with that fluffy brush. I'm just going to kind of start wiping everything off. because it is a translucent powder, you don't have to be as exact with where you're blending with this. But see, immediately those harsh lines that we had before, gone. So you can blend up with this, really blend everything together. And then any extra product, again, I always like to put on my forehead, just to get rid of any kind of shine that might be happening. All right, so we're kind of ready for finishing touches now. So I'm gonna go in with some blush, and I'm using the Rare Beauty Liquid Blush in the shade Joy. And this stuff is so highly pigmented. I like to work one cheek at a time. I don't like to put it on and then blend, because by the time I get to the other cheek, this stuff is so pigmented that it can sometimes like stain and stay very blotchy in one area. So I just put literally, that's it. That's all I need to do. And then I'll go in with my Beauty Blender and I'll just do circular motions over like right at the top of my cheekbone. You don't want to go in too much with your blush, because again, just like bronzer, just like contour, it could close your face in a little bit. So just kind of working that around the eyebrow. Now we're gonna go in with the eyes again and do our final touches. So I'm gonna go in with that very first shade that we used. Whatever you used on your eyes first, whether it was a bronzer or whether it was an eyeshadow, whatever that first shade was, we're gonna start in the outer corner of the eye and blend our lower lash line, bringing it out into that like kind of cat eye effect that we created. Perfect, and now we're gonna apply our mascara, and today I'm using Tarte Lights Camera Lashes. So for lipstick today, I'm actually using the Essence Stay 8-Hour Lip Liner. It's waterproof and it literally does not go anywhere all day. So what I like to do is just kind of line the outside of my lips, and once I have that shape in place, I'll just start kind of blending it in like a lipstick. I love wearing a lip liner instead of a lipstick now, because I just feel like it gives that, you know, smudged, kissed look almost, without being too harsh, and it stays on all day. And if you put like a little bit of gloss over your lip liner, I think that's just a beautiful look. Last but not least, we're gonna go in with highlight, and today I'm using Jaclyn Cosmetics highlights. I got these in her like limited edition Valentine's Day collection. So one is just like a white shade. It's a little stained because I use it all the time. And one is a bronze shade. So I don't think you can find these exact ones on her site anymore, but if you are looking for a good highlight, I would recommend Jaclyn Cosmetics because they have just really good product. So I'm gonna go in with that fluffy brush and the bronze highlight. Get right in there. I love a nice highlighted look in the summertime. And I'm gonna highlight my upper cheekbones. Then I'm gonna go in with that white shade, and I'm gonna take a brush that has a little more of a like pointed head, if that can focus, like that. Dip it in there. And then I'm actually gonna put this in the inner corner of my eyes. Just kind of blend any other product right into the eyelid, just to kind of open it up a bit more. I feel so naked without eyeliner, so I'm gonna put a little bit on. Usually I'd put it on before my, what's it called? My mascara, but that's okay. I'm gonna put a little bit of eyeliner on. Show you guys how I do that if I can find my eyeliner brush. Here it is. So today I'm using the MAC 283 or 238, or I don't know, it's the MAC eyeliner brush, I don't know. And then I'm gonna use the MAC Black Track Pro Longwear Fluid Line Eyeliner. I used to always buy eyeliner, like a pencil type eyeliner, but I find that using the pot is so much easier now. I don't know why I was so intimidated by it. It's so much easier. So just really getting in there with my brush. By the way, this is a very angled brush. A lot of brush kits have something like this. And I'm gonna start in the outer corner of my eye and just apply this really close to the lash line. And then just create a little line right here. If you're not comfortable doing this part, just leave your makeup, because you could easily mess it up doing this. I kind of went backwards. See, it just provides so much more depth. I feel so naked without eyeliner. And then whatever is left on my brush, I'm going to create a little line from the lower lash line up to the tail of my eyelash or eyebrow. Why do I keep mixing those two words up? Just a tiny little tail, like that. And then, I know it goes against every makeup rule to touch my face, but I'm gonna take my brush from that tip that I created and make a little triangle that goes right back to my eye and just fill that in. Ugh, much better. I feel like myself now. And that's pretty much it. I hope this video was easy enough to follow along for you. Thank you so much for watching if you made it this far in the video. And if you're going out tonight, have so much fun. Love you. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and let me know in the comments what you liked about this look, what you might want to see next. And until the next video, I'll see you next time.